Continue the hold music.
La 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 la, hold music.
And we're back for part two. um, God,
For
so
those of you listening on Twitch, um, recording it that way and sending it up to YouTube, I can just continuously let the stream go. YouTube is a little angry, and you can, or the PlayStation's a little angry. You can only do an hour segments.
yeah, well, we're no longer have to worry about that. We have a whole other hour we can talk, and I don't think we'll hit that. But
Yeah.
God, I just have to reiterate, I love this book. Now, Doxin and Kelsier. Of course I read this already, and I didn't remember to what point like Dox knew Kelsier was a Mistborn. So in my notes here I wrote Dox doesn't seem to know about Kel's abilities, and then like two sentences later he was like, well, something 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 Mistborn, and I was like, oh, just kidding.
Yeah, he has the brain cell.
Oh, and I want to talk about. So I've kind of pushed us into to chapter two, so I apologize unless you have anything else on chapter one to talk about.
Nope, happy to do too.
Cool. So we talked about the boxings earlier, and the box, which is the Lord Ruler's home in the middle of Luthadel.
Hmm.
Luthadel being the name of the city. Um, the name of his home is called Creedic Shaw, the Hill of 1,000 Spires, and I just fucking love that. It is so cool.
That
Creedic
is definitely
Shaw.
some super villain vibe.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, um, when I first heard about this book, Shane, um,
Hmm.
I was sold on it because it was like um, the villain wins, like,
Mm.
and that is essentially the world they're living in. The Lord Ruler, the villain, he won, however long ago. Um, and here we are now. So we've if you I don't know if it's the same in your copy of the book, but in my copy of the book, every chapter starts with a number and then like a symbol in a circle. Do you have that?
Let me see.
Like kind of like almost
Yes. And there's like a weird italicized, I say weird, but it's like a quote, almost not quote, italicized thing above the chapter.
yes. So they're very important. Those
Hmm.
I so if you what Brandon likes to do with those sections at the beginning of every chapter where they're italicized is he's
Hmm.
giving you in universe books. So that's a story
Oh.
somewhere that someone had wrote that down in universe that's written by a character, and there's kind of that'll help fill in some of the gaps. At one point in the story, Vin will get a book, and you'll be able to put things together from there with that. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so if you haven't been reading that, read that. Um, then it's funny. My first note here is actually about that. So in chapter two, I think they're called epigraphs. Um, it talks about Terrace prophecies. It talks, and then earlier on in like the prologue or the first chapter, it talked about the hero of ages. Well, if you haven't looked at the spines of all three books in your little collection there, the third book is called the hero of ages. So we got a prophecy here, and I want to know, who do you think the author of these epigraphs are? Do you have any guess?
Mm. Well, initially, to be funny, I want to say Hoyd. I don't know if that's
that
right or not, but like
that
I was
is
just like, yeah, that'd be funny.
that is really funny. It is not right, but I'll give you that. Uh,
um. Otherwise, like I don't have a good beat on it yet to formulate a good guess.
okay. Ha-
Now, if you have one, I'm happy to like hear your thoughts.
I am not going to guess because I know the answer.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate you trying to keep me in there. I want you to think about that as we
Okay.
continue. As you every time you try to piece them together as you're reading,
Okay.
because it's fun. Like where that goes.
I will. I'll definitely keep that in mind.
So you've mentioned Ash a couple times, and I kind of want to talk. So uh, the amount of Ash, it seems very overwhelming. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that they kind of talk about how what it does to the city, blackening the buildings and the road, makes it hard to live. That constantly has to be moved around. Um, and it feels like they had to push it into their waterways. There's no space for it, you know?
Yeah.
It's very oppressive. Um, very much like the society that it blankets. Let's see. Um,
Sorry, I had a mouthful of snack there for a second, but yeah, I
you're good.
I definitely agree with you because like and that's what continues to make me think of like something's gonna pop off, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because if like this is all over their society and they're just like, yeah, this is a typical Tuesday for us, no problems, and it's like, but it's an omen. It very much is an omen.
Hmm. Yeah. It feels like the there's just there's going to be a lot of ruin, like
Yes.
chaos and you're wondering like how are these characters going to persevere? Like with all of this depression and destruction around them, and
Yeah,
yeah,
because I think like not just the perseverance, but like so far we have one character who's like, yes, I'm okay with change, I'm okay with chaos, I can cause chaos, like Kelsier. And then Vin, who is very much like okay, I'm only doing this because I have to, but I really would prefer to play it safe.
right. Vin doesn't want to be bothered by anybody. She
Yeah.
learned like I just want to. She's just trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
Like she'd rather
Very
not
much
have
like
to.
leave me to fuck alone.
Right. Like the the less BS Vin has to deal with, the better. Um,
Yeah.
which isn't really going to happen in Cayman's gang. Like,
No,
um,
she's got the fuzzy end of the lollipop with that one.
like I don't know if Cayman knows about Vin, like, or if it's just like a superstitious thing because we did talk about um, the ska being very superstitious.
Hmm.
But I mean, he's he's not letting her go.
No, not without a fight.
Yeah. Oh, just the kind of because like the um, the Aeons from Elantris were so fun, like the different languages, and I know when Tess was reading those, she was marking them off and like labeling them and things like that in the book.
Mm.
At the beginning of every chapter, there should be a symbol. Those are the Elementic symbols. It is they all represent one of the Elementic metals,
Okay.
or also sometimes they also represent numbers or cardinal directions, um, sometimes letters. So it is their script, and as we continue to read different Mistborn stuff, I will share like different websites that I'm familiar with that'll help you like kind of delve into the lore a little bit once there's not as many spoilers everywhere.
Okay.
Um, and you'll actually see there are different scripts for like different time periods in on this planet, because that's something Brandon's been doing with the Mistborn series, is that as you progress through each series, because right now there's two Mistborn series, the time changes. It's a different era in the world's timeline. which is very fascinating to me, and I think you'll enjoy that.
Sweet. Okay.
Um, and I know you like your lore, so there's a lot of that. Let's check.
Yeah. As a side note, because now that I'm thinking about this, there is another book that I am currently reading called Alchemized, and that is a book where right out of the gate, the villain has won.
Ooh.
And the main character, again, without spoilers, is put into a position where, as you're reading this, like, she's captured. She's in trouble. The villain has her. She can't break free. She's stuck. She lost. Her whole team lost.
Oh no.
And like you're reading this, and there's no hint. There's no anything. It's just here's what's happening. And so then that's that actual drive in my mind of like, how are you going to get away from that? How are you going to escape this?
Right.
So that's just another one that I'm thinking of that as I get my bookshelves arranged, I'm going to get back into that.
That should be fun too. It sounds like might share like similar storytelling techniques and things like that. You know.
Yeah.
That's fun. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Okay. So I have two more notes that I want to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
We see a Steel Inquisitor. And
Yes.
they are fucking awesome, but also really frightening.
I was getting very much like oh god, how do I if you picture an automaton and like somebody with a lot of like augmented things, right? And then somebody put a human in that automaton's body, took away its emotions, took away its ability to do anything, and just said, the only reason there's a soul in here is so it can be piloted correctly. Like, you have no free will, you have no control. You are big and menacing. It's like the Steel Watch in Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the initial vibe that I got from those guys.
You are very astute, my friend. At one point, I want you to hold on to that, and there's going to be a point in this series, and you're going to be like, "Wow, did I read this already?" That's pretty good.
Okay.
But let me. I had a paragraph that I would like to read real quick.
Ooh, yes, absolutely.
So the second man was tall, with a strong build. As he turned, Kelsier was able to see that a thick metal spike had been pounded tip first through each of the man's eyes. With shafts as wide as an eye socket, the nail-like spikes were long enough that their sharp points jutted out about an inch from the back of the man's clean-shaven skull. The flat spike end shone like two silvery discs sticking out of the sockets in the front, where the eyes should have been. A Steel Inquisitor. So,
That gave me a new thought.
go ahead.
The spikes for eye sockets.
Yep.
Very much the symbolism and vibe to me of okay, my brain's kind of going on an overdrive here. Metal very clearly in this world has power. Different
Yep.
metals do different things.
Yeah.
Now, if you remove someone's eye and replace it with this metal spike, what my brain initially thinks is, okay, depending on the type of metal, that must give it the ability to do a thing. And so I'm getting like very Sentinel vibes from X-Men, but also more than that, you're removing its eyes. The symbolism there literally is you don't see unless I tell you to see.
Uh-huh.
You don't do unless I tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating.
Oh yeah. And then they are the Lord Ruler's Steel Inquisitors. The Lord Ruler is not a good dude.
No.
No, he's not. He is a self-proclaimed god.
I mean, it's how all dictatorships start.
Yeah. But then we ask ourselves the question, is he actually God? Is he using superstition? Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So,
That's a tough one.
yeah, yeah. It's a tough one. One that Brandon lets us explore. So I'm really excited to get through those type of things with you.
Okay.
Um, I really, 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 really like where your head is as far as thinking about the metals.
Okay. Excellent. That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, every metal does something different in Allomancy. And we've talked about this before. There are fundamental rules in the Cosmere as far as investiture, how it works. And those fundamental rules are pretty much the same no matter what planet you're on.
Mhm.
So if you can start to guess how things are going to work based on like what we already know, what you've experienced. Um, and then yes, there'll be slight tweaks to things, but there is a groundwork that he bases everything on because he likes to make it work. He likes to have the rules.
One of the notes that I put in for one of the earlier chapters is that is the key to good storytelling, and this is what I saw when I looked at the map. His maps are not overly complicated. It's not like a whole world. I mean, granted, it is a world, right? No disrespect to him, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you're essentially saying, okay, here is planet Earth, right?
Right.
And the entire story is going to take place in planet Earth. No, you condense the map small and small enough to have lore, to have explanations, to have like rivalries, warring factions, all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And whoa. Sorry, I just got back and I saw that epic walkway that you're making. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Um but yeah, no, that was something that I thought was really well done of okay, we're going to keep the map size small,
Yep.
but we're not going to make the information in that small.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. I really like that. I really like the fact that like we are getting lore and tidbits and it's something I really like about his writing. There's no hand holding. There's no exposition. He's not going to sit there and be like 10,000 years ago this happened and this happened and this is the
And
country.
yeah.
Bro. Yeah. No, he name drops things. Um and you're not supposed to really understand at first. You're supposed to get an idea and you're supposed to guess and think and he makes you critically think about things
Mm-hmm.
and eventually these concepts, these ideas, these places, the society, their laws and rules, they are made known, but it's organically, and I really like that. And you're not just learning about Luthadel, you're learning about the whole Final Empire. You're learning about all of this planet. Um, and I can tell you the name of the planet, but I want you to figure it out as you go. You know?
Mm-hmm. No, that makes absolute sense.
Um,
And oh, you go ahead.
no, go ahead. You have a point.
I think that was one of my notes in chapter 2. Let me see here. Uh, Okay. Yes, this is you just said you want me to figure it out. You want to see that journey of like where my brain goes, how it's analyzing these things.
Right.
That reminds me of a point that I wrote down here where it says Vin has great instincts. Something is always fucky when the main character says it is.
That's right. It's right.
But to the reason I thought that from the point that you just made is that there is no hand holding. Like, I feel like the reactions of these characters are justified, not just oh, I'm special, I know what's going to happen. It's like, no, this is in a real scenario to any one of us seeing these things, experiencing these things. We would think the same thing. This is not like out of the ordinary for someone to reach these conclusions. It
Right.
seems very organic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you have the characters are thinking,
Yes.
which is not always the case in some stories. So it's nice to see. You
Yeah,
know.
no, that's what I mean. Like it's either the main character is there to like spoon feed you as the reader, or the main character is sometimes painted as the I'm oblivious, but the reader knows what's going on kind of thing. Um, but I never get that in this. I've always seen this as like, okay, this is organic. This just makes sense.
It just makes sense. Yeah, I agree with you on that. It kind of feels like you are not privy to more information. Sometimes it feels like you're privy to less information than the main character,
Mm-hmm.
which is I think kind of fun. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Um, and the last note I had in my notes are just the elementic metals that Kelsier ingests: iron, steel, tin, pewter, copper, bronze, zinc, and brass.
So
Any you want to take any fun guesses at what some of these do?
iron. Say them one at a time.
Iron, steel,
Mm-hmm.
tin, pewter,
Iron.
copper, bronze, zinc, brass.
Well, okay. Initially, we know what tin does. We've already kind of like gone over tin,
Yep.
but pewter. I don't know. Pewter is kind of like a softer metal, and so I expect it to have like a. I expect it to have more of like a effect on the mind, or like something that's not abrupt. Like if you were to take it literally, like think of slowing someone down, or like I don't know. It's just a soft metal. I might just be taking it too literally. With copper and bronze, there's a lot that it could be because like there's the Copper Age, there's the Bronze Age, like there's tons of things. I don't know. Maybe one of those has to do with creativity. I'm just taking shots in the dark because like I genuinely have no idea.
I know. I know you're just taking shots. Um, okay. Okay. I'm not going to confirm or deny anything because I kind of want you to like experience them as you go.
Sure.
Um, so how about iron or steel? Any idea?
Okay. Hmm. Iron, I feel like, is some sort of aggression because iron was the Iron Age and periods of history. that was such a long time period with weapons. And when people started using iron, it dwarfed the previous metals when it came to combat.
Hmm.
And then steel made it even worse, where it was the race for steel, the race to have the strongest steel, which is why you have people adding vanadium to it or molybdenum to steel to strengthen it. As a side note to people listening, I literally just wrote a 10-page paper about this. That's why I'm throwing out some of these fucking references. um, but that steel makes me think of defense in some way. Because as of right now, that's kind of the. You can add things to steel, and like of the metals that you listed, steel seems to me like a good defensive metal.
Okay. Okay. I like where
Um,
you're going with it.
iron seems to be more fighty. And I don't mean fighty as in like, let's look at the broad term. Like, you're not going to use steel to be like, I'm going to turn my hand into a sword like Full Metal Alchemist. No. I I think iron, like when I say more fighty, I mean if you're looking at primal sources of order and chaos,
Yeah.
iron would be the one that would enhance the cause of destruction. Steel would be something you do to protect yourself.
Okay.
That's that's kind of where my brain's leaning towards.
I can see where you're going with it. I absolutely could. Um,
Excuse
it's fascinating. It,
me.
I like the way your brain thinks and like the way that
I
you're
appreciate that.
pulling that information. And I love your reference to your paper. That's great. Um, and it's gonna hit really fast as far as these magics are concerned. You're gonna like be like, oh shit, okay. Um, and then as you learn what these do, there's gonna be some other things because I mean you've already picked up on the Inquisitor spikes. Um, so like it's not just that. There's more. And so as we learn about different things that are going on, I want you to like focus on the metals and like how they work to
Okay.
see if you can determine like what other things are. Um, and I want to see if you can learn about it before Vin does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will do my best.
I think you have already picked up on a lot of things that I was like, woo, and I'm no clue whatsoever, just kind of like derping along as I like went through this book the first time.
Yeah.
So,
I really appreciate that. It's I with the some of the things that I've studied and the way that my brain like understands certain things, like
mm,
I was telling my wife about this where it's to understand magic systems and to like sometimes you just have to take it at face value.
mm,
And then like the more that you read occult books, the more that you read books on certain things, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm no longer taking this at face value, but someone is saying, here is this concept, and then you go, okay, if the principle is this, how would you expand it? Like, I'm going to give a really, really wild example here. So, like, if by the end of this you're like, what the hell? Like, fair enough. um, the human body creates like has a natural current of electricity.
okay.
Okay. So and everything that we do, like there's that natural like natural electricity on us already. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's where you extrapolate that. You know scientifically that people are walking around generating energy. Certain metals conduct electricity,
Yeah.
like copper. So in theory, magically speaking, you could make a little vial with copper and some other minerals and use it to feed off of the natural current of a human body, basically turning that person into a battery for whatever you wanted to do,
Right. Okay.
alchemically speaking. And like some people hear that and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And like, fair. But also like that's the kind of thing where when you hear somebody saying, "Okay, here's this principle like copper conducts electricity." And you're like, "Okay, how far can I make that conduct? How like what can I do with it?" And sure, there's like laws of thermodynamics and like all these other things that make it so that you have to be careful with certain things. But like in a pure fantasy setting, I enjoy letting my brain just wander because like if you assume you assume like okay here's this rule and then you think to yourself okay well what if there's no rules, if there were no rules whatsoever what could I do with it, and like
Right.
that's where some of like that's how sometimes I think of these things.
That's cool. I like that you're thinking that way. Kind of keeping it loose, and like open-minded. That's the best way to be, you know?
Yeah, especially with a fantasy series like
Yeah, because anything can happen.
yeah.
I mean, like you could like have an ability where you can split atoms because you drank a vial of aluminum. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen, but like it could.
Yeah, it's totally just like what are the rule, and that's one of the reasons I like Brandon Sanderson's writing is he goes okay here is this universe, here is this world, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
In this world these are the rules that make this world work, and because I've established these universal rules, this is how things go from here. And like he sticks with those per planet really well. So at any point in time, like I haven't found any moments where I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense. That breaks your rules. It's like no, you're changing them per planet, and you're making them fascinating so that everybody else is like, okay, wait, what? How does this work?
Right. It's like what is this that you're saying?
Yeah, what
Um,
are this?
what are this? And they work. They work, and I think you're just going to continue to enjoy it. I hope at least. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, do you have any notes did you want to touch on that we haven't? Because I am
Uh,
through everything.
I am also through everything. I figure what next week we're gonna do 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, next three chapters. It's kind of weird since we started with the prologue and just did, but technically it's three chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's fine with me. 3, 4, 5. Continue it, and yeah, I'm doing well so far.
Awesome.
Oh, just I one thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Please.
Part weren't so this is broken into parts, and the first part is called "The Survivor of Hath Sin." Did you pick up
Mhm.
what that is yet, or who that is?
I thought it was. Hang on, let me open my book so I can get the name correct.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was Kelser.
It is
Well,
Kelsier.
no. Yeah, I thought it was Kelser, and like following that religious theme where people think, oh, blah 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 is bad, and he's one of the ones that's like, no, it's not bad.
Hmm.
It's fine. It just is what it is. And like having that mentality around very religious people can be very difficult, which is why I feel like he gets that moniker as an instigator
Hmm.
because he thinks differently.
Right.
But he could be thinking differently because you made a point earlier that's got my brain cells thinking here, got the gears moving, where you had said they don't want anyone other than nobility to be able to use these abilities.
Hmm.
So now it's got me thinking of, mm, is the reason for his advanced intelligence is because he was nobility at one point?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
I love the way that you said that though. Like, no, I don't
yeah.
know. Like I could see him having like one noble parent and the other one being Ska, which is giving him this like unique perspective into both worlds because he's never disrespectful to people in Ska who are like, ah, this is the superstition. He's like, well, it's okay, and like he's not talking down to them, but he does have increased intelligence. And granted, you could get that from life experience, but in my mind, I think that life experience comes from having a parent on either side.
Right. I see what you're saying. And I mean, just for the sake of like you kind of nailing it on the head a little bit here, um, I I believe the only way that a Ska can get misting or mistborn abilities is to have a noble parent or a noble blood in them at some point. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that their direct parent was a nobleman, um, but it is in their bloodline at some point. So, whether Kelsier was a nobleman at one point or they have a parent that was, I'm going to let you read and find out.
Mm-hmm.
But that is part of how these abilities get passed down, and it is why, as we discussed, the law is in place. Why the Trusting isn't getting in trouble because he kills the Ska women he sleeps with.
Considered a good citizen for doing it.
Yes, trash.
Yeah, trash in the incinerator.
Yes, and Kelsier did that for us.
It
Um,
honestly makes me think of, okay, the duality between him and Vin because Kelsier is definitely riding the I am chaotic. I will kind of do what is necessary, whereas Vin is taking the analyze first, ask questions later approach,
yeah,
which can't blame her. But they're definitely two sides of the same coin. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in time, like as the two of them get closer,
mhm.
they play on each other's strengths.
That's absolutely fair. And they have a lot to offer one another, whether Vin thinks she does or not. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and another thing I wanted to bring up about Kelsey before we finish, and it's something that I feel like is very endearing about Kelsey's character.
Mm-hmm.
He's always smiling, and he says that it's the one thing that the Lord Ruler can't take from him.
Yeah.
He's taking everything else, but he's not going to take the ability to smile. It's essentially his way to fight back, which I find not only like such a strong character trait, but it's also very like sad
Mm-hmm.
because I mean it's essentially a slave that has lost everything and now is just trying to hold on to the one thing they have left, and it's the ability to control their own mood, the ability to smile.
Yeah.
Bam. Well, um, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, anything else before we wrap things up?
No, I'd say that is good. For people who are listening, welcome back to Comic Book Not Comic Book Wednesday.
Yeah. Our trip through the Cosmere
Dun,
begins.
dun, dun, dun.
Sort of half begins, because we've already read Elantris and Emperor's Soul.
Those I feel like those are the teasers. Like that was the okay, you're gonna dip your feet in the water to get into the Cosmere. Now you're kind of like, all right, here we go, full ass, jump in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're definitely going full ass now, and we're going full ass when you haven't. And we're still like a good couple books away from the Stormlight archive, and the Stormlight archive is so full ass that like we might just have to focus on one chapter sometimes.
Oh God, wow, that actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's God. It is my personality now, and I apologize for anybody. But yeah, all right. Well, if hopefully if you're there listening, I hope you had a nice time listening to us talk about Mistborn. And if you haven't read it, read, read.
Do it. Follow along with us.
Go and spend the little bit of money that it costs to buy a mass market trade paperback or whatever mass market paperback off of
Mhm.
Amazon. They're super cheap. You get all three in the Mistborn series. Um, and it is worth it. And if you order it tonight, it'll be here by like tomorrow because Amazon rules the world, unfortunately. And you can read the prologue, chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and catch up with us and be ready for next week.
Yeah,
Because
and a little to add a little bit of sprinkles here for people to do this. There was a recent article that mass market paperbacks are going to stop being produced soon because publishing companies, are losing money making them.
yep,
I literally found the Mistborn trilogy on Amazon. It was all three of them mass market in its own like little box.
uh huh.
It was like $11.
$3, $11. You can't beat that.
No, it's
And
nothing.
yeah, it's nothing, and they're fantastic. And you'll probably end up doing what I did, is that I bought the mass market, I fell in love, and then I bought them all in hardcover. I have, well, I have two copies of Mistborn now. I have the hardcover and I have the leatherbound. I gave my mass market to my friend's wife, and she read them and she fell in love with them.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, "You can have it. I have other copies of the book. You can have this copy." Um, so here we are.
Yeah. Join us next time, chapters 3, 4, and 5.
Woo! Until next time, have a good night, y'all. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.